and welcome back to another episode of the Choose954 podcast, episode 96 with Dr. Yanina Gomez, here from her beautiful home in Tamarack, Broward County, Florida. If you didn't know about Choose954, myself, Evan Snow, and my business partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, as arts advocates, community builders, and placemakers, started a social movement to cultivate culture and community here in my native Broward County in an effort to keep people in the know with all the great things that are going on to make this a better place to live and not just a better place to vacation. So the point of the podcast is to connect you with amazing people like her that do important things in the community. And we actually have quite a bit going on. We're very proud to share. So without much further ado, for those that are not familiar with you, why don't you just introduce yourself briefly at a high level?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Yanina Gomez. I am a psychologist, author, and co-founder of the Art NXT Level Program and co-owner of 33 Contemporary Gallery.
That's right. And recently relocated from Chicago.
Yes.
So glad to have you here in Broward.
So, yeah, we're glad to be here. Thank you for having me today in your podcast.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah.
So for those that are not familiar with you, the books, Art NXT Level, kind of give us a little bit of a background of how you got started on this journey to this point.
Oh, that's a very long story that I'm going to make it as short as possible.
Okay.
So basically, Art NXT Level and 33 Contemporary Gallery, I own it with my husband, Sergio, and he's an artist, a curator, and gallerist, and I'm not, right? And when we were in college and we started dating and we got married, probably a year after we got married, or within that first year, we were like, I don't know, maybe daydreaming. And then I was like, well, wouldn't it be interesting to somehow, sometime, somewhere, end up working together, putting together a business? And we were like, oh yeah, sure. A psychologist and an artist. I don't know what that's going to bring about. But, that's something we thought about it back in the day. And it just happened for us is the Art NXT Level Program. And also 33 Contemporary Gallery. But honestly, I'm just in the papers. He's the one that does all the work when it comes to the gallery. But we both work together in the Art NXT Level Program.
Amazing. Yeah. And if you weren't aware, Sergio, her husband, was on the podcast previously and previously shared his story at creativezen, which is our monthly breakfast lecture series, our mini TED Talk that we host for free at the Alvin Sherman Library on the campus of NSU. And Dr. Yanina is our upcoming speaker, where she'll be sharing her story. But I always thought it was kind of cute. So you guys met in college.
Right. We both were finishing our master's program. So that's when we met. And yeah, it just happens,
Amen.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. I'm glad that it worked. And so from, I guess, studying and getting your master's, kind of walk us through your psychology journey to the point that it led to contributing to Art NXT Level, which we are so proud to have here locally as a leading arts marketing and mindset platform.
Well, I practiced the traditional psychology for about 13, 14 years. And what happened was that when I signed up to be a psychologist, I signed up to help people and work with them, right? But in my case, it became more like an assembly line. And what happened was that I will have a client and then what will happen is that I will have to do a whole evaluation. I will do all the interviews. And back then, I was working mainly with children and their parents. So they will refer the child to me or the parent. I will do, like I said, the evaluation, the diagnosis, the treatment plan, and then I will have to give that to whether the counselor or the therapist or the behavior specialist. And it just became an assembly line, and that's not what I signed up for. And so I was becoming a little burned out and somewhat frustrated because I did not want to just be providing diagnosis to individuals. I wanted to work with them and see them go from A to B, right? Whatever that A is to whatever that B is. But I wasn't able to do that because of the caseload. So I brought it up to Sergio a few times, and I was like, you know what, I'm becoming quite frustrated, a little burned out, and this is just not what I signed up for. And interestingly enough, he came to me and said, well, then just create your own job description and let's take it from there. And I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, I have a pretty good job, a pretty good salary, an amazing health insurance, life insurance, and all these insurances. I'm not just going to let that go. And he said, well, then you have to decide what is more important for you. So I ended up that summer writing my job description and ended up quitting. And I went into higher education. I was teaching at a local university for a year. I was teaching counseling, statistics, psychology classes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, I thought I liked that. I was like, okay, maybe I'm into education, which I do. I love education, but I don't like people telling me what to teach.
Right.
And when you're a professor, and if you're a professor out there, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of things going on other than teaching students. So I was like, no, this is not for me. And that's when other things happen, and we ended up creating the Art NXT Level Program.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have studied, I mean, from getting to know you and then reading a little bit about you, you've obviously studied quite a bit, to get to that point in your career. And it's interesting how you can now apply those learnings and thought processes and methodologies to, and once again, if you're not familiar, her husband, Sergio, is leading artist, curator, gallerist, co-founder of the Art NXT Level Program. So obviously, and you guys were, running a major art center in Chicago before this. And so the population or the community in which you were really serving and supporting of artists, you're now able to take that skill set and that experience to support them. So at least initially with the Art NXT Level Program, how do you help with the mindset portion of helping artists?
Our program, yes. And in our program, we believe that in order for you to become the successful artist that you are meant to be, you have to take care of yourself from the inside out. You have to invest not only in your skill as an artist, but also on your wellness. And when I say wellness, I'm talking about physical wellness, emotional wellness, and spiritual wellness. And it's so important that we do take care of these three different areas in our lives in order for us to be able to have the energy that we need in order for us to succeed. And the more you put aside your wellness, the more you start experiencing burned out, symptoms of depression, anxiety, physical problems, and the list goes on. And when you do the opposite, when you do pay attention to your wellness, then you start seeing that things are flowing better, right? And that you have more energy, you have more interest and motivation and encouragement, and things are not like when you start facing difficulties in your art career, which if you're an artist and you haven't faced any difficulties, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. Like for all of us, it's our journey. When you start facing those difficulties, you have the tools that you need to face those difficulties in a healthier way. But when you don't pay attention to your emotions, you don't pay attention to your psycho emotions and your physical part of yourself, then things can go south.
Very quickly.
And very, very quickly, which is why we believe that, you can come to our program and we teach you all about selling your art, all about marketing and a lot of different things. Everything related to an art career and an art business, we have it in the program. We have resources, we have mentoring, we have Q&As, coaching, you name it. But we prioritize wellness because we want you to be the best you can be. We want to take you from point A to point B, which point B is the best version of yourself. But there's a process that you have to go through in order for you to achieve that best version of yourself.
To get to that next level, whatever that next level is. And I like how you mentioned from A to B, because if you're an emerging artist, just getting to selling, getting your work out there, getting into a show is the next level. And then once you're, that emerging or mid-career artist, ideally, hopefully, and it only, as we know, only happens to very few, can get to, exhibiting in galleries, exhibiting in art fairs, being, and then, if you're very, very, very fortunate and you have some luck involved and you're very talented, to get to that blue chip level is another next level. And everybody starts at zero. Andy Warhol, Basquiat, Picasso, everybody started at zero. And everybody had to put in work in their craft. And I'm so glad that you highlight the wellness and all the different components of wellness, because as you know, and as people that have been listening for a little while know, yoga, mindfulness, meditation has had a profound impact on my life and helped me not only combat burnout, but now has helped me hopefully prevent onsets of burnout. And that's led to a beautiful collaboration that we have going on next year around my birthday. Where we have recently launched our first wellness retreat, a cruise for creatives on Virgin Voyages, which means no kids.
And all included, almost all.
Correct. And we're not only we're going on a cruise to retreat from this crazy life that we live here in America on planet Earth, but we're also integrating some talks, and it's not an intensive workshop component.
No, we want you to relax. And we want you to also give yourself that opportunity to go within. And so we are preparing a couple of workshops about that as well. In addition to marketing and selling art and things like that.
In addition to fostering a more inclusive creative community and bringing people together for shared experiences. And we're excited to see, what new neural pathways are created, what new connections are created. And it's
collaborations and everything.
Correct. Or inspiration that artists might gather from these new environments. So we're going to go from the Port of Miami on Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady to Roatan, which is off the coast of Honduras, which I've always heard is amazing. Costa Maya off in Mexico, Quintana Roo, and the Bimini Beach Club, another place I've never been to.
No, I have never been to any of those places. I have never been on a cruise.
Me neither. So thankfully, our friend Francine Sweet from Sweet Life Travel Tribe knew that and encouraged and supported us. And that something came out of another event that we recently just had that you participated in, our Choose954 Artist Potluck Series that we do quarterly. So we've been having these meals and gatherings. Pre-COVID, we've had about 20 of them now quarterly. And, it's just another extension of that to bring the community together. But I'm so glad that we're able to authentically and genuinely integrate wellness component, because wellness, mindset, overcoming burnout is important to us. And I know it's important to you, and you've taken the time to extrapolate some of this information in some of your work. Could you tell us a little bit about some of your writing and what you guys have published?
Sergio and I, my husband Sergio and I, we co-wrote this book. It's titled Crush Self-Sabotage and Live Fully. And in this book, we go deeper when it comes to your mindset and emotional wellness. We talk about self-sabotage and how it can cripple you, and how, if you are not careful, it can even paralyze you.
Literally.
And I provide quite a few strategies and practical ways of changing and shifting or tweaking your lifestyle that will help you actually crush self-sabotage. We also go over negative thinking patterns. We go over mindset blocks and all these different areas that, as we work with artists, we come to find out patterns, that many artists, maybe that's not you if you're an artist watching, but we have worked with so many artists that they go through self-sabotage, they go through mindset blocks, they go through these negative thinking patterns that they don't even know they have. So in one of the chapters here, we walk you through the process of the most common negative thinking patterns and how to identify those patterns in your life if you have them, and what to do to overcome those negative thinking patterns.
In your own style. And one of the things I've enjoyed about reading it is it's in your tone. It's in your, you guys actually wrote it, and you're speaking to me, you're speaking to artists, you're speaking to creatives. Whereas sometimes you might read a book, and while they are notably established and accomplished in the art world, you guys are also very down to earth and approachable, which is not something you always find in the art world. Another conversation for another day. But the tone is very authentic and very genuine and very relatable.
Thank you.
And I know you have a lot of experience as a mom and working with parents. Can you tell us about the other book?
Yes, the other one is Moms. My apologies.
You're good.
I got too excited. Maybe. The other one is titled Moms Don't Quit. And this is a book for mothers and also fathers. I have fathers that have read this book for parents of children that are in the preteen and teen years. So I provide a lot of advice on how to stay connected and how to stay as an influence in the life of your children, especially during those very difficult years in your child's life. And we know that our little ones, when they go from being a child into the teenager years, something happened. There is some level of changing, and it's almost like an alien takes them and then brings them back, and they're a totally different person. So I share in this book a lot of different strategies on how to stay connected with your children. At the end of the day, that's what is important at this specific developmental season in your children's life, the importance of being connected and the importance of being, and you as a parent being the number one influencer. And it's something that doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you have to work on. And honestly, you need to start when they're younger, but it's never too late to change ways and adjust and adapt to a new way of disciplining and raising your children. So I share a lot of different tips in this one. So it was a very special book because the reason why I wrote this book, if I may tell you, the reason why I wrote this book is actually I was in my head there was another book, and our son he was in middle school, and he comes in that day I was at home, and they used to take the bus to school, the school bus. So the school bus drops him off in front of the house, and then he walks in and he sees me in the couch, and he's like, "Mommy, you need to write a book for that town's mothers, the town that we lived in, mothers." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh my gosh, these kids are a mess, and these parents care less. They don't care about their kids, and these kids are a mess. They're so disrespectful to the teachers. I just had enough. They need you, and you should write a book to these parents." And I'm like, "Oh boy, you have a good, that's a good idea." So that's where this came about. That the idea of writing this specific book was born out of my son's suggestion. And it's so funny because then 2 days later he comes back and he walked in and he asked me, "So how is the book going? Because these parents really need it, Mommy. You need to go fast." So yeah, that's kind of where this one, Moms Don't Quit, was born out of. And,
oh my God.
And from this book, then I decided after I wrote this book, I started doing workshops for parents. And then I do workshops on mindful parenting. There's a lot of different topics under that title.
Sure.
But I facilitate workshops on discipline, on wellness, on mental health, on raising children, how to communicate, how to keep a bridge between you and your child, and the list goes on. So that's another area that I focus on. I love both. I love teaching parents parenting skills, but mindful parenting skills,
right,
and intentional parenting skills. And I also love teaching artists how to maintain a strong, healthier emotional wellness.
Amen. And I love, now that we've been connected on social media, like the content that you share, obviously on the art side, but actually even on the parenting side, because I admittedly, unfortunately, was not the best kid and gave my parents a little bit of a challenge in middle school.
I wasn't the best kid either.
But we ended up all right.
We're good. We're good.
Little friendly reminder that with some support,
yes,
you can, they are, and I can't even imagine in 2024, how tough it must be with the internet and social media and all the pressures for the kids that obviously then gets passed on to the parents. So definitely give you a lot of credit and kudos for putting that out. And regarding the workshops for the artists, we actually have our next one tomorrow. But
yes, I'm looking forward to that workshop.
And I've enjoyed them and learned so much. But So the Art NXT Level Program started a summer workshop series now that you're down here in South Florida, actually making them available online, but also in person between Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach. We're very grateful to serve as the host for the Broward location and our Zero Empty Spaces Gulfstream
And
Park.
we're thankful for that. Yeah.
Great collaboration.
Yeah.
So we have one tomorrow. They might not be able to get it to hear this by then to join us. We do have one more for September.
Yes.
But give us a little bit of a synopsis of some of the workshops that we've done, some of the workshops that you offer, and then potentially if somebody's seeing this and maybe they want to bring you in to speak to their art group, local arts alliance, or other things that you can speak to.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Well, start off with the summer workshop series.
Yes, the summer workshops, the ones that we're doing now in August, is about modern strategies to finding collectors. So Sergio teaches quite a very powerful strategies on how to find collectors. But today's collectors it's a little different from what it was a few years ago. And in this specific workshop, I teach specific strategies on how to present yourself and your art to a potential collector in a powerful, effective way that will connect that possible client to your art.
Yes.
And so I provide strategies on how to do that. And the next one that we will be offering in September, actually, I'm not going to be part of that one, but Sergio is going to be teaching strategies on how to have an effective, powerful open studio event. So, and how open studio events can bring profit to you if you do it the right way.
Correct.
You know, there is a party way and
Correct.
a business way. And Sergio will be teaching you strategies on how to
your point, and to the attracting collectors as it also relates to the open studio, if you're in the arts, you know there are, and no disrespect, but there are some people that just go for the free wine to go schmooze. They are not the collector that you are trying to attract.
No.
But then there are people that are either seasoned, experienced, collectors that have, collections. But in 2024, there are still people that are new to art.
Yeah, every day. Yes, and there's different generations. And, we are now in the process of educating those younger, those in their 20s, that will be the future collectors.
Correct.
You want to address collectors or possible collectors or buyers. Let's just call it buyers.
Correct.
We do want to address buyers based on different categories. There's different categories to a buyer, and how to convert a possible buyer into your collector, your supporter. That's what Sergio is teaching in this workshop.
Amazing.
So in the Art NXT Level Program, actually, right now we are in the process of digging deeper into that topic. So building a collector's circle is the topic of the master class that we are teaching in the Art NXT Level Program, which is a 10-week class that we are providing to our members. And not only we are teaching amazing, modern, crazy strategies that are effective, but we're also bringing guests. We're bringing actual collectors. We're bringing art specialists and art appraisers. We're bringing interior designers to speak about how to attract people and how to convert them from a possible buyer into a collector. So it's a very intensive class, but very, very practical.
Online. And Art NXT Level Program is an online platform that now that they're here in South Florida are offering workshops in person.
Yes.
And when I said the book was relatable, the workshops are like you're delivering tangible, implementable strategies that anybody, and we've had artists participate in the workshops that I've been a part of in Broward at Zero Empty Spaces Gulfstream Park of all levels of career, some of which are emerging and some of which, like Dahlia, is established. And everybody's been able to gather takeaways, even not for nothing, sharing about inventory solutions and services that you guys recommend. Or even I've learned so many things from you guys about packaging artwork and obviously the marketing of artwork and just even if there are things that maybe you know or you've heard in the past, there's one thing about, and you can appreciate this, about acquiring knowledge, and then there's another thing about integrating and applying the knowledge that you've acquired. And I've already began to, and I've been, imploring and suggesting and offering to our artists in Zero Empty Spaces the best that we can to take advantage, because this is, everybody wants to sell, and most artists probably want to be full-time artists and just make art, but you have to do the marketing. Yes. You have to do everything that goes into it.
You have to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's no longer just being in the studio and painting or photography or drawing
and hoping to get a gallery
and hoping to be discovered.
Right.
That's no longer. I mean, it might happen. It still happens.
Correct.
But it's like 1 in a million, right?
Correct.
It's like you're. I don't know, it can happen to you, but for most, you really have to become an entrepreneur, and you have to learn how to not only create the amazing art you make, but to get it out there. And also you have to learn the strategies that are working at the moment. And that's one thing that we have been learning after being in the Art NXT Level program for so long. Sergio is constantly updating the courses because things change.
Correct.
Especially with Instagram.
Correct.
I cannot tell you how many Instagram courses he has put together since we started, but because he's constantly upgrading them, because what was working last year is no longer working. As a matter of fact, there's some services that were there before that are not here. So it's just maintaining, staying up to date with what is happening to be effective. But one of the things, and this is when I come in, it's like, you want to do all the you have to do the marketing, the sales. It can be overwhelming, right? And then you start sabotaging yourself, or you start experiencing mindset blocks, or you start having anxiety issues because you sign up to be an artist, not an entrepreneur.
Correct.
So there is that conflict, that inner conflict, especially about identity. Like, okay, I am an artist. I don't have to, why do I have to be doing all these things? I want to be in the studio. And if I am not in the studio, I'm a less than artist, and you go through all these different issues and all these different negative thoughts and all these different, you start thinking about all these different things that you could be doing or lack of, right? And that's not even talking about resources, right?
Correct.
So all these things can really affect your psyche. And that's when I come in the Art NXT Level program to help you balance it out. We believe that you can balance it out, balance your art career and your life as a person, and not even, and I'm not even talking about family members and all these different things. We do not believe in that 50-50 balance theory, because you cannot have that. It's impossible. But would we work with you and try to help you find that healthy balance that works with you, that effective balance that can help give you the mental space, the emotional space, and the physical space to create and move forward.
Amen. Because work-life balance, it's not just for people that go and work at a desk or work a 9 to 5. If you're a small artist, you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business owner, you need to take control. Because if you're an artist, you don't really have a boss. You're your own boss, so you have to take control of it. So I give you guys a lot of credit and kudos and commend you for that. I'm so glad to be able to share this with our community online. Zero Empty Spaces, also great. You guys are gracious to provide a discount to the artists for workshops for their time. Because also you guys are entrepreneurs as well, and it's taking time out of your lives on the weekends to come share all this knowledge that you've acquired. They're very reasonably priced, $55 for a 2-hour workshop. To be able to help grow your career, thousands of dollars is professional development. And just as, when you were in the academia field, you had to go through professional development and ongoing continuing education.
I still do. In order for me to keep my license, I have to. So, and
it's really important to think about. So I'm so glad to be able to offer the workshops. I'm so grateful to have you speak at creativezen, which, if you didn't know, is our monthly breakfast lecture series, our mini TED Talk that we host for free every second Friday morning of the month at the Cotilla Gallery inside the Alvin Sherman Library on the campus of Nova Southeastern University in Davie, Florida. That event was one of my aha moments that led me down this path of arts, culture, and community building. So you never know who's going to be speaking, what you're going to learn from them, how they're going to potentially impact, your life, your world, your community or beyond. So it's a free event, coffee, breakfast bites, guided meditation from our friends at Rising Nature Retreats. So we're so glad to offer that. So glad to offer the workshops. Have the Cruise for Creatives, the wellness retreat coming up.
I can wait for that one.
Oh, me too. My first cruise, your first cruise. If they'd like to follow you or reach out to you, stay connected with you, website, email, social media?
Yeah, well, in social media, I am Dr. Yanina Gomez. At Dr. Yanina Gomez, whether it's Facebook or whether it's Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than I am on Facebook, but Dr. Yanina Gomez, it's my handle. Websites, if it's about parenting, or if you're a parent that would like to also work with me through about not only parenting but emotional wellness, my website is www.dryaninagomez.com, and my creative for website artist website is the www.theartistnextlevel.com.
Amen. So. It's and also great, not terribly expensive, but a lot of great resources on the YouTube page, on the social media page, podcasts that you guys do. Really, really great stuff. And I guess just lastly, if you're here in South Florida, you guys have transitioned the gallery, which you are a partner of more than just on paper.
Yes.
You wanted to tell, I believe you have another workshop coming up or event coming up.
We have an opening coming up the first Thursday of September from 6 to 8. From 6 to 8 in the Palm Beach Art Antique Showroom.
Design showroom,
Thank you. Showroom in Lake Worth.
Yeah, which is a beautiful space. If you've never been there, it's an amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's on a 500 North Dixie Highway in Lake Worth.
Yeah, and there's so the gallery transitioned from Chicago as you transition down here.
Right.
So we're so glad to have you. We're so glad to have Sergio. We're so glad to have Art Next Level contributing to the art community. If you like what we're talking about, certainly encourage you to attend and join us.
Yeah,
we have some other great free events. We're still doing free tours of the Art Walk in downtown Hollywood every third Saturday, which you've attended.
I have attended, yes, and they're a lot of fun.
And it was cool, actually, because I remember one of the artists, Andrew Hayes at CKO Kickboxing, was like, I know this guy.
Yeah, he recognized her here, from social media for sure.
And that was cool.
Yeah.
So we still do that every third Saturday. We have one of our annual events coming up that my business partner's wife, Frances Martineau, created, the Female Brew Fest, which is a pioneering craft beer festival celebrating women in the craft beer industry that either brew their own beers or own breweries. It's a big women's empowerment event. This year, it's the 7th annual installment. It'll be on the Loop, which is on the corner of Las Olas and A1A, opposite the Elbow Room, which is a beautiful park space there. So that's another way to tap into community, because there's a whole craft beer community, which was my last podcast. And still doing Accent Club, Goal Setting Accountability Mini Mastermind Group, still doing my weekly men's circle. If you know men that are looking for support and having a safe space to share and open up, that's one of my best self-care, personal development, therapy, but not as with therapists.
Hey, it's amazing.
Anything. So there are resources out there.
And they're fun. Most of them are
correct.
They are like, you're learning, you're growing, you're getting better, and you're having a good time in the meantime.
Amen. You had a good time at the potluck.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We had a very good time. Yeah.
And the next one, so we're doing them quarterly now. So the next one, generally I do it like 2 weeks before. I'm about to probably publish it 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, because the week before people start getting ready. But we'll do a potluck, and it's just you bring a dish for 5 or 6 people. Not everybody eats everything. We go around the table, give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their work, and then generally there's a prompt. This last potluck, it was, what do you do for self-care? Which is, it's interesting to hear other people. Thanksgiving time, generally it's, what are you grateful for? But you get to literally, people always say to me, how do you tap into the creative community? Well, this is a free event that you could tap in, and then you got to meet people that were doing other interesting things. We have a Facebook group that if you have an event, you plug it in there, you'll get people to show up and
Yeah.
support your event.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the Choose 954 Artist Potluck. Look for the next one before Thanksgiving. Save the date for the cruise, wellness retreat, cruise for creatives, Virgin Voyages. I'm Evan Snow at Evan Snow 13 at Choose 954. And the last question we always like to ask end the guest with: why do you choose the 954?
Well, weather is one thing. Going from freezing temperatures, dark days, long winters, to coming here to beautiful sunny Broward County. Also the sun shining, and it's just, and I really appreciate the work that Choose 954 and other organizations are doing to promote and support the arts here in Broward County. We know Miami is known for their arts, and of course Palm Beach as well. And now Broward is just becoming part of it.
I believe you guys are involved with the Frank Pembroke Pines with Yochi's upcoming event, which is a great space. You've done some stuff at the Coral Springs Museum of Art in my hometown, which is a beautiful museum.
It is beautiful indeed.
So you guys have been able to tap into community. We encourage you to tap into community. Hope, if any of this resonated with you, please don't hesitate to reach out, drop us a note.
Absolutely.
We're open books, literally. And we hope to see you at creativezen on September the 13th, Fema Brewfest September the 14th, the cruise March the 2nd through the 8th, or any of our community events.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.